At dinner, he was asking me about the nuclear situation in Iran in a very genuine, hey, I think you're a smart guy, I want your opinion sort of way. And I said, well, obviously you're privy to things about it, I'm not, but for what it's worth, I thought the Obama deal was worth letting play out because we made Iran destroy 98% of the uranium and they were 15 years away from a bomb. And then I said to him, but we got rid of that. You got rid of that. He didn't get mad or call me a left-wing lunatic, he took it in. I told him I thought parts of his plan for Gaza were wacky, but that I had supported him in the idea that Gaza could be Dubai instead of hell.
Okay. Now let me say my controversial part. Any of the things that Bill Maher is saying here about how, and then I said to him this, trying to make it seem like I stood up to him I don't believe literally a single one of those things.
Me neither. In this video, Kyle Kulinski on his channel Secular Talk takes a look at Bill Maher's recounting of his recent visit to the White House for dinner with Donald Trump and Kid Rock, and I suppose some other people. And look, you can go and watch Bill Maher's account of it just clean any way you want. I don't know how you feel about Bill Maher, but there's a bigger picture here that Kyle Kulinski gets to. And, you know, I think Kyle Kulinski's an entertaining guy, and really that's why I do his videos. And he skewers him, you know, better than I could. I will have my opinions as we go, but let's watch this together, and I'll let you decide for yourself, and then I want to know what you think in the comments. Let's check it out.
The death of Bill Maher, effectively, is what we're looking at here. Homie is washed, and he's going out super sad. Here we go.
And now for what I know you've all been waiting for, I'd like to give you my book report on my visit to the White House. Okay, as you know, 12 days ago I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a fucking comedian. And he's
that is the classic dodge where you can have whichever one of the Rogan Sphere podcast bros who's also a comedian. They get into like super serious political issues with incredible real world consequences. And then when they get criticism, when they get pushback because they're wrong about something, it's, bro, I'm just a comedian, bro. Why you coming after me, bro? I'm just a comedian, dog. Jeez, like you want to fucking take political advice from a comedian? Well, then why the fuck were you just talking about politics for fucking 7 hours straight? If you can't handle the pushback, if you can't handle disagreement, if you can't handle being fact-checked, it's such a weak fucking dodge. And notice, he was like, I wasn't there to sign a treaty or anything, bro. Don't be ridiculous. Then watch, he's going to go into a long talk here about how we discussed the issues and we got into the merits and the substance. Well, what happened? Was it, you weren't there for a serious political reason and it was all shits and giggles and you didn't talk politics at all? Or did you talk a lot of politics? And wasn't that the point? So it is kind of like you're going in there as a representative of, you think, the left and, trying to get to the truth of the situation. So you can't have it fucking both ways.
Powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute.
He said it. This is a guy who supported Bernie Sanders in 2016. He was one of the toughest critics of the Bush administration, ripped Bush on the Iraq War and the financial crisis. He was, for a long time, viewed himself as, I am the left flank of the Democratic Party. Like, I'm an independent who caucuses with the Democrats, but I'm to the left of the Democrats. This was his shtick for so fucking long. And then now, he went from supporting Bernie in 2016 to Amy Klobuchar in 2020, which is already a shift to the right. And then now he's doing the above the fray. I'm a centrist-minded person, bro. I'm happy he said that. Because at least it's on the record now. At least we now know. Now, functionally, what you guys are about to see is this. Over 90% of people who describe themselves as centrists, they effectively are more on the right. So you guys know this. I've talked about this before, but there's your nominal label of what you are politically, and then there's what you are effectively. And those are different things. So somebody could say, I label myself a communist or whatever. I'm an anarchist. I'm a communist. I'm far left. I'm whatever. But then if you talk about politics for a living and the majority of the stuff you talk about ends up bolstering the right, supporting the right, making people go to the right, view the left as the crazy people, then I'm sorry, you're not the label of yourself that you say you are. That's just your nominal label. Effectively, you are on the right. It's like, think about it from the perspective of Tim Pool, right? Or a Russell Brand. Those sorts of people who, I'm just a liberal, bro. I'm an old school liberal, or I'm like a lefty, bro. But here, go look at my video library, and 98% of the time I'm talking about something, it's shitting on Democrats and pumping up Republicans. Right? So, and this is the trap he's fallen into. He's an online enlightened centrist who, oh, would you look at that? The majority of the time, he's really getting fired up and passionate. It's shitting on the left and saying, well, you got to hand it to the right on this, bro. You got to see where they're coming from on that, bro. There's only one person, in my experience, who describes themselves as a centrist, but functionally supports Democrats more than Republicans, and that's Andrew Yang. Right? Almost everybody who's a centrist, who says they're a centrist and they're not Andrew Yang, they end up just sucking MAGA cock on a regular basis.
Okay, so meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different. Spoiler alert, it was. First good sign, before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president had said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy, fired like a dog. His show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did. Which he did with good humor. And I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a fuck.
So notice the scorn that he has for the people that are critical of him, and then compare that to how he talks about the right these days. This is why I say you're effectively on the right. Because all the smoke, all the passion comes out when it's left-wing critics of yours. But when it's people on the right, it's endless charitability. And also, he signed the paper of all these insults he had to me. It's like, you're admitting, like, yeah, politics doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. We're all just, playing our role here. We're in the game here, right? And no, Bill, the reality is this stuff fucking matters. The decisions that are coming out of that White House that are absolutely destroying people's lives. This is not like a ha-ha, hee-hee, look, you said some mean things about me. Can you sign it, sir?
So, no, I didn't go MAGA. And to the president's credit, there was no pressure to. After we left the Oval Office, he showed me the little room off the office, the one where Clinton used to. Okay. The blowjob room. Okay. Well, not anymore. That's where they keep the merch now. It is. And he gave me a bunch of hats, but he didn't ask me to take a picture in one, which I appreciated. The guy I met is not the person who the night before the dinner shit-tweeted a bunch of nasty crap about how he thought this dinner was a bad idea and what a deranged asshole I was. I read it and thought, oh, what a lovely way to welcome someone to your house. But when I got there, that guy wasn't living there. Now, does Trump want respect? Of course, who doesn't? My friend said to me, what are you going to wear to the White House? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky, I'll tell you that. But, okay. Just for starters, he laughs. I'd never seen him laugh in public, but he does, including at himself. And it's not fake. Believe me, as a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it. And I thank you for them. No.
So he's describing how Trump interpersonally is very charming. Yeah, no shit. To become the president of the United States of America, that's kind of a necessity. You have to be interpersonally very charming, right? Joe Biden, say all the negative things about him you want. He was fucking charming interpersonally. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, the won't have a beer with him type thing. You're not saying anything new or interesting. He's like shocked that, oh my God, at this meeting where his whole attempt was to charm me into being softer on him, he charmed me into being softer on him. Yeah, no shit. You got played for a fool. They're playing you like a fucking fiddle. Because nobody should care about how he is interpersonally. It's about how the decisions he makes, the policies he implements, how that impacts your fellow Americans. And not just your Americans, people overseas too, who are either being bombed or threatening to be bombed, or they're now in a fucking trade war because this guy's psychotic.
Example, in the Oval Office, he was showing me the portraits of presidents, and he pointed to Reagan and said, in all seriousness, you know the best thing about him? His hair. I said, well, there was also that whole bringing down communism thing, waiting for the button next to the Diet Coke button to get pushed and I go through the trap door. But no, he laughed, he got it. I said to him at one point, Mr. President, you know the dog, that's unusual in the White House. He said, well, a lot of the presidents, they had a dog for political reasons. I said, no, people love dogs, that's what that is. Oh yeah, okay, that's true. I'm telling you what happened. At one point, we were walking through his amazing tour of the whole house. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it must have been something with the 2020 election, because I know he used the word lost. And I distinctly remember saying, wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage.
So then why are you making such a big deal about how he was at a private dinner with a comedian? Right. I know that this stuff doesn't matter, okay? I know it means nothing, okay? But here's a fucking 12-minute monologue on how actually it matters.
I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy.
I love how he started this by saying, no, I'm not going full MAGA, as he proceeds to go full MAGA. Actually, he's a really nice guy. Actually, he's really sweet. Actually, he can take a joke. Actually, he's very self-aware. Actually, he's totally different behind closed. Who gives a fuck?
Kid Rock told me the night before, he said, if you want to get a word in edgewise, you're going to have to cut him off. He'll just go on. Not at all. I've had so many conversations with prominent people who are much less connected. People who don't look you in the eye. People who don't really listen because they just want to get to their next thing. People whose response to things you say just doesn't track, like, what? None of that with him. And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know, your mind is blown. So's mine.
He's so dense. Oh, they're playing you so fucking hard. And you can't see it. He can't see it. This is incredible. This is like a testament to, we know Trump's a massive narcissist, but this is a testament to perhaps Bill Maher being an even bigger narcissist than Donald Trump.
I'm not sure that that's right either. I think that if Donald Trump doesn't know what to think about any of this stuff, because Donald Trump doesn't really care about any of this stuff. If you listen to the actual interview when Bukele came to the White House, the president of El Salvador came to the White House, and the press corps asked about this guy that had been deported, that the Supreme Court said 9-0 that the U.S. needs to facilitate his return. It's clear that, various people talk about it and assert that this guy was a terrorist and he should be out. But when both Bukele and Trump talk about it, it's clear that neither of them have any idea who anyone is talking about. They don't even know who this guy is, right? It doesn't even get to them. And, Trump eventually gets into his default, like, oh, well, look, the media hates me and they see everything as sour. But listen to it. It's clear that neither president even knows who this person is.
At dinner, he was asking me about the nuclear situation in Iran in a very genuine, hey, I think you're a smart guy, I want your opinion sort of way. And I said, well, obviously you're privy to things about it, I'm not, but for what it's worth, I thought the Obama deal was worth letting play out because we made Iran destroy 98% of the uranium and they were 15 years away from a bomb. And then I said to him, but we got rid of that. You got rid of that. He didn't get mad or call me a left-wing lunatic. He took it in. I told him I thought parts of his plan for Gaza were wacky, but that I had supported him in the idea that Gaza could be Dubai instead of hell.
Okay. Now let me say my controversial part. Any of the things that Bill Maher is saying here about how, and then I said to him this, trying to make it seem like I stood up to him as a, I don't believe literally a single one of those things.
Me neither.
I don't believe it. Maybe he passively went, maybe Trump actually asked him about Iran and he was like, yeah, well, look, I supported the Obama deal, but it's gone now. Maybe he said something like that, right? There's no way. He was, you got rid of that, sir. There's no way. And remember, we have another account of what happened at this dinner. It was from Kid Rock. And what did Kid Rock say? He said they got along on everything. They talked about the areas where they agreed, right? And now Maher's getting to it now, but this is his thing. Oh, yeah, I disagreed with him some on Gaza, but I said, oh, it's a great job to try to turn it into Dubai. Here's a guy, Trump, who came out and said, the U.S. is going to own Gaza. We're going to take Gaza. We're going to own Gaza. And the implication is we're going to make it be, we're going to build casinos. We're going to build hotels. It's going to be amazing. He released that AI video with like golden Trump statues in Gaza and Trump hotels and casinos in Gaza. And so what he's talking about is illegally stealing Palestinian territory and ethnically cleansing the region, kicking out all the Palestinians, the ones that they didn't already kill. And Bill's like, well, yeah, I agreed with him, okay? I agreed with him on maybe making Gaza like Dubai. So this is him going in there and cucking himself. Really? You're going to talk about Gaza with President Trump and you're not going to be like, you casually discussed doing a war crime and stealing the land. Wildly illegal under U.S. law and international law. And what about the 2.3 million people who that's their home? You're just going to fucking steal it from them. God, he's horrible.
I told him he was wrong when he tweeted the night before that I was critical of all things Trump. Not true. Check the tapes. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem, loved it.
Oh my God. Yeah, because that had no negative side effects. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem. Yeah, that was taken really well. That wasn't one of the things that directly led to October 7th. The Abraham Accords didn't directly lead to October 7th. Like what? See, this is the real point. This is the real point of the dinner, right? Like, oh, let's be charming. Let's talk to him about the things we agree on, like those woke, crazy, pink-haired college kids, bro. And now it is going to be much more difficult for Bill Maher to be fiercely critical of Trump.
Bingo. So this goes on. This is only halfway through, and it goes on, and it's worth watching. And I would do it all here, except I don't have the time to do it today. You should go to Secular Talk, which is Kyle Kulinski's show, and you can actually watch Bill Maher's clip on, I guess, his channel of his side of the story. But I like Kyle Kulinski's take on it here. And it's worth watching the rest of this because, Kyle Kulinski's an entertaining guy. But the bottom line here is that I think now that Trump is in the White House, his team of people, the people around him that are really driving things, are trying to spin up this PR campaign. This PR campaign of like, you know what? Let's see. What are the likable things about Trump? He's funny. He's affable. Let's find the ways in which he is relatable. Let's see if we can get some of these most vocal critics in here and run a charm campaign that will make it more difficult for them to be one-sided in their criticism of him, right? And let's get the Bill Mahers in here. Let's get some of these podcast people and continue what we started with Rogan and just win this kind of war of likability as much as we can. And don't worry about us. We'll just be under the hood here ripping out the underpinnings of democracy. But even if we can only delay this long enough for us to really ruin and rig the system come election time, we'll be fine, right? So, I mean, I agree with Cal Kulinski. I think they probably went and they made nice. I think Trump's capable of making nice. And I don't think that Trump is a guy with an evil plan, right? Trump is not Adolf Hitler. Trump does not have an ideology. Trump is just a narcissist. And what he calls the weave, that kind of word salad he does that is like, it's hypnotic in mind-numbing ways, as stupid as all of it is a gift in this regard, right? And he also knows how to make a good headline. Sure, they're right out of the gutter. They're from making fun of disabled journalists, right all the way across the board. It's the lowest common denominator. But people gobble that up the way we gobble up Cool Ranch Doritos. Like people just can't get enough of that content. But there's no plan, right? The plan is coming from the people around him, the Stephen Millers, right? I mean, these are the people that have an agenda. The Project 2025 folks, these are they wrote the plan, and they're like, don't worry about it, sir. Here, play with your golden toys. Pull your little $1 million a dinner rackets. We'll throw you a junk meme coin thing that you can pump and dump right before you get into office. We'll get all the billionaires to stand around you and make you look like a real billionaire. You know, we'll fluff you up and we'll let you do victory laps and we'll continue to kiss your ass in all the ways that make you happy. And you don't need to worry about the details because, of course, Trump doesn't care. Not only is he unable to handle any of it, this is not a leader. He's not a leader. He likes to think he's a big fancy businessman. He's a clown. You know, he's at least 6 bankruptcies. He's not driving. He's not driving. So all of this is just a PR campaign right now to distract from the fact that we are in a constitutional crisis, that I was going to say deported. They haven't deported anyone. Deportation is a legal process. They've just snatched people and hucked them out of the country, whisked them away. I mean, it's human trafficking, really. If somebody came up to, you on the streets and grabbed you and handcuffed you and put you in a vehicle and took you to an airport and flew you to Louisiana, and then from Louisiana flew you to El Salvador, and you were just gone, and then they said, well, we can't get them back. Would you say that you were deported, or would you say that you were human trafficked? It's due process that's under attack right now. And however you feel about this dude languishing in an El Salvador prison, he did have a legal injunction against deporting him specifically to El Salvador. There was no due process, and that's the rub. Anyway, look at me. I'm all fired up. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments?